Welcome along to the O'Donnell Park for the first time today. We will, of course, have live championship coverage for you at junior level as Letterkenny Gaels, who are celebrating their 25th anniversary as a club, are taking on the Downings of Downings for the Junior A title. We're just minutes away from getting the fixture up and running. It's already been a successful day at junior level for the Gaels. They overcame Neve Padraig of Lifford on a scoreline of 1-6 to 7 points. So a cracking finish to the Junior B game about 30 minutes ago. There was late points in the tie from Joe Freel and Sean Crossan, both coming in injury time, to give the Gaels a 1-6 to 7 point victory against the men from Lifford. Brendan Kilcoyne is on commentary for the Junior A decider with us this afternoon. But I suppose first of all, just touching on that Junior B victory, a super finish to the game, Brendan. We were watching it here in the press area, and it looked like Neve Padraig of Lifford was set to force either another game or extra time, but somehow the Gaels in injury time were able to find those two decisive scores, so they were.
Yeah, massively exciting stuff here in the last few minutes. It all came down to the last kick of the game. Lifford got a free kick after that score that you mentioned, Oisín, up, and there wasn't much social distancing down in the goal mouth when they were defending it because there was so many bodies back there. I think Letterkenny Gaels had nearly all their 50 men back on the line to defend that attempt, and they got 2 or 3 attempts in it, but they couldn't muster a goal which they needed because there were 2 points down at that stage. So Letterkenny Gaels, I think, deservedly came out on top, and I suppose a great start to the day for them. We saw St. Eunan's do the double senior reserve last week. We saw Cloughaneely complete the double at intermediate level yesterday. So I suppose the big question now is, can Letterkenny Gaels repeat that feat and do the double today, or will it be Downings, the Naduni, who have experience of winning this title over the last few years, Oisín? But both these teams have competed in county final level at junior level over the last couple of years. Downings getting beat, maybe was it last year, and Letterkenny Gaels the year before in the county final. So there'll be a huge desire and drive for both teams to get over the line today, Oisín.
Okay, then we're just going to go back to the studio, take a quick break. We're going to have Naran Naveen here at the O'Donnell Park and join us for live commentary from the first half shortly. So there we have Aron Naveen. We'll take a look at the starting 15s from both sides here. We'll begin with Letterkenny Gaels. Ryan Graham is in goals. A full-back line made up of Niall Diver, Conor Brown and Kevin Kilkenny. Jeremy O'Cahill, Darren Hunter and Brian Diver are the half-back line. In the middle of the park, Paddy Doherty and Oisín McElhinney. Sean McDonough, Cormac Cannon and Conor Walker are 10, 11 and 12. And then changes to the front line for the Gaels. We've got Brendan O'Brien wearing number 18, Conor McBurty wearing number 17. They're coming in for Kieran Kilfeather and Ben Gallagher, while Kieran Lynch is starting in the corner wearing number 15. As for Nadoonov, John McGruddy is in goals. Johnny McGruddy, Tiernan McBride and Ross Cullen are the full-back line. Kevin Gooch Doherty, the captain Ben McNulty and Pádraig McGinty are at 5, 6 and 7. Changes in the middle of the park for Downings. Ethan Cullen and Gary Ben Ban McClafferty were named to start. Oisín Boyle and Shane Boyle are coming in to replace those two players. James Lee McBride, Danny McBride and Keelan McGruddy are at 10, 11 and 12. And the front three is going to be made up, spearheaded by Larkin Connor. Out to his right, Alan Pasoma, and then to his left, Eric Roberts, who is wearing number 15. So we're about to get underway. Mark Brown is our official for the Junior A decider today. Paddy Doherty, Oisin McMenamin, and the two boys, Oisin and Shane, are in the middle as the ball's thrown into play. The action is up and running, and the first of the exchanges is going to be won by Letterkenny Gaels. It's knocked out to the left-hand side, and the captain, Darren Hunter, has it for the Letterkenny base side. Crossing the 45, coming down the left-hand channel. It's flicked forward as the Gaels go on the hunt for the first score off the tie here this afternoon. But they're easily dispossessed on that occasion, and the Downings side are able to come away with it. Well, they thought they did originally, but at the second time of asking, they're able to run into space now, and charging up the field are the Downings men. And it's with the number 12, Keelan McGruddy, of course, a man who's played in several underage inter-county sides for Donegal. Here's a wonderful score, kicked down the left-hand side. It's by Johnny McGruddy, who is wearing number 2, positioned on the programme as a cornerback. But of course, we know the scoring quality of young McGruddy. Keelan linking up with Johnny. The opening score of the game has come for Downings. Brendan Kilcoyne.
Yeah, excellent start for Downings. They broke the Letterkenny Gaels attack, and the two cousins linked up. Johnny McGruddy playing lined out with number 2 in his back, is actually playing wing forward. Received the ball from his cousin and kicked an excellent score from well outside the D. And so good start for Downings.
And Downings are building another attack. Pasoma is going to flick that one forward into Danny McBride. He takes the return. Is there a bit of space here to have a go on the right boot as he heads towards the 20? Going to be closed out. Signal comes to move it back as far as the 45. As the men wearing green with gold sleeves have another attempt from about 35 out, and that one goes out to the left and wide, and it's going to be the first wide off the tie. Remains Downings leading here by 1 point to no score. And on the clock, we've played almost 2 minutes, and it's all Downings at the moment. The kick to come from Ryan Graham. Graham sends it out to the right. Up they go. The ball breaks. Keelan McGruddy has it. Going to cut back infield once again. A lot of green shirts in there, including Danny McBride. McBride now knocks it out to the right, but it's not a good pass. It was cut out by Brian Diver, but it's fallen kindly for the Downings men. And again, they're going to work it this time to Oisin Boyle. Boyle's going to change flanks here and go to the point scorer. Johnny McGruddy coming down this left-hand side. Steps inside. Room again to have a go on the right foot. And Johnny McGruddy knocks over one again. Back-to-back scores from Johnny McGruddy. And the Letterkenny Gaels men are going to have to be careful with young McGruddy. You can't afford to give him space like that, Brendan Kilcoyne. Yeah,
and he found himself a pocket of pace after Downings had held up the ball well and found an opening for him and kicked another great score, very similar to the first score he kicked with his right foot. Just looking at a couple of the matchups too, I see that Niall Diver has picked up Larkin Connor, went straight to pick him up, and on the other side then the key man inside for Letterkenny Gaels, Conor McBrearty, has been picked up by Ben McNutt, the centre half back for Downings.
The kick out and the break again won by Downings, and it's won by Keelan McGruddy, working it forward. Time again on the right boot for Keelan McGruddy. Knocks it high, but this one's going to go out to the right and wide. 2 wides for Downings. They've 2 points on the scoreboard. The Gaels have yet to find their first or second gear, to be fair, in this game. Yes, with 3 minutes on the clock, but already you can see what Downings are bringing to the table, Brendan.
Yeah, they've dominated the last few kickouts, so they have around the middle of the field. The 2 big boy sleds around the middle of the field have kind of dominated that area for the Downings to give them the platform to create them scoring opportunities for Johnny McGruddy. Oisin.
Ryan Graham this time goes out to the left, out to his left, but again the kick out is won by Downings. Back now into Eric Roberts. Roberts has a couple of green jerseys off to his left, but he's found a bit of space to steam forward into the half of the Gaels, heading towards the 45. Gives it to Keelan McGruddy again. Back it goes to Danny McBride, picked up by Larkin Connor, who's come out a bit deeper on the edge of the 45. Downing's quite happy to hold possession. The Gaels have everybody bar one inside their own half. Now it goes to Ross Cullen. Cullen gives it to McGruddy, and back now to Kevin Gooch Doherty. He's going to send it out to the right hand side where it's picked up by Port McGinty. McGinty fists it forward, goes to Boyle. It's Shane Boyle, but the pass isn't good. It's easily dealt with by the Gaels. They're coming back out with their captain Darren Hunter as they try to create what would be their first attack of this game. It hasn't been the most promising of starts for the Letterkenny Gaels side, who have found it difficult to get their hand on the ball. And now to McElhinney, the midfielder. McElhinney gives it out to Sean McDonough, and they're going to send it over to the left hand channel just under the leisure centre here. It's with Darren Hunter again, now into the Downings half. The Gaels kitted out with the white tops and the maroon shorts. It's with Brendan O'Brien. He's going to knock it back again now, and it's possession in the centre of the field with Niall Diver, the cornerback. Paddy Doherty has it, the midfielder for Letterkenny Gaels. The fullback, Conor Brown, arrives, and just a wee triangle of hand passes at the moment for the Gaels men. Downings very well set up. They've got everybody inside their own half. Doherty takes a return. Now they've managed to find a bit of space down the right-hand channel. Back it comes into Sean McDonough, who turns on to the right. And on their first attack, it's resulted in a point. It's 2-1 here at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny Gaels. It's 2-1 to Downings against Letterkenny Gaels at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny. And now maybe that will settle the Gaels into this game. Brendan, took a bit of time, so it did. Almost 6 minutes.
And not even that. From when they turned the ball over, they must have had 20 passes to get out of their own half of the field, but they were patient, created the opportunity, and Sean McDonough took an excellent score.
And now they have won the kick out as well, and this is an effort coming in from Conor McBurty, who's been carrying an injury in this championship, coming back in to start for the Gaels. The kick out there from John McGrody, the Downings keeper, was intercepted by Cormac Cannon, but a let off for Downings. They remain in front by 2 points to 1.
Yeah, and I'm looking out at the pitch here, and I'm surprised that Letterkenny Gaels aren't pushing up more on the kick out. The 4 or 5 bodies drop back here, I suppose, with the threat of Lorcan Connor, but on that occasion they happen to win a kick out anyway.
Cannon offloads it to McElhinney. It's given once again to Walker, and back now as far as Paddy Doherty. As the Gaels look to build an attack down the left-hand channel, Brian Divers carrying it forward. Support is there, not enough room to try and find the target. The hands raised from McElhinney again, out with a bit of space down the right-hand side, and now gives it to Darren Hunter, who's switched flanks in the last couple of minutes. Hunter's going to go back to McElhinney, and the Gaels quite happy to hold on to possession. Conor Brown sends it off to McDonough. The point score for the Gaels. Bit of room now down the left-hand side with Paddy Doherty. They have to be patient here, the Letterkenny Gaels. Effort comes in, but it's going to tail out to the left and wide. So back-to-back wides for Letterkenny Gaels on the scoreboard. It stays 2 points to 1.
Yeah, and again, well worked from Letterkenny Gaels on that occasion. They were patient in their build-up play, and they did create the opening for the player to take the shot on, but unfortunately didn't make a connection, the correct connection, when it went right on his own side of the post. And they always say you should kick it wide on the far side if you're going kicking it wide. But listen, it's been an interesting enough opening after the initial dominance from Downings. Letterkenny Gaels have worked their way back into the game and have now had 3 shots on 1 on target.
And here comes Cormac Cannon, busting into the challenges. They managed to get the ball away through 3 or 4 Downings players. Jeremy O'Cahill has it now. Instruction comes to send it back to Oisín McElhinney, and loads of room again along the edge of that 45 for the Gaels. Here's another opportunity now coming down the left hand side. As you get turned in on the right boot, does McDonough. Back to the fullback Conor Brown, and it's been all the Gaels this last couple of minutes. The opening 5 minutes was dominated by Downings as they led by 2 points to no score on the board, but the last 3 or 4 has seen the Gaels get back into this tie. The Donegal Junior A Championship Final, live on Highland Sunday Sport in association with Boyce's Centra. Shop local, support local, with stores in Carrigart, Downings and Fulcara. Letterkenny Gaels still controlling possession. They knock it back once again. It comes to Conor Brown. And now Jeremy O'Cahill. A lot of possession for the Gaels. Downey's quite happy to invite them on. Trying to find the spaces. O'Cahill again. Now back to Conor Brown. We're going over and back here at the O'Donnell Park, so we are. Downing's set up defensively well. The Gaels finding it difficult to try and poke a hole through the defence. Again, it's with the fullback Conor Brown, and now Jeremy O'Cahill with a bit of room, sprinting forward. He needs to knock it out to the right, looking for Oisín McElhinney. McElhinney steadies himself 15 out. It's a poor effort from McElhinney. Goes well out to the right and wide. 3 wides on the bounce for Letterkenny Gaels. Downings still leading by 2 points to 1.
Yeah, and as you correctly said, Downings are happy to sit back and invite Letterkenny Gaels onto them. We're seeing a lot of football played across the middle third of the field here, where they're prepared to move it over and back. To be fair to Letterkenny Gaels, they've good width and everything, and on that occasion it probably wasn't the right man to take on that shot in the right position, and they've kicked their third wide of the game, as you correctly said, Oisín. So they'll need to convert more of them chances, so they will.
Yeah, the mark is called by Letterkenny Gaels after another poor kick out from the Downings goalkeeper. It's picked up by Conor McBurty. McBurty's met by Tiernan McBride. McBurty has a go on the right boot. It kicks it high, wide number 4 for Letterkenny Gaels. And the Downings will need to sort out these kickouts, Brendan.
Yeah, they're under pressure from their own kickouts, so they are. And when you're under pressure from your own kickouts, you're inviting the opposition team onto you all the time, and they really are struggling here, and they need to get it sorted out fairly quick, because it shouldn't be too hard for them to get it away either, Oisín, because you look at all the men that Letterkenny Gaels have left sitting back in their own half back line, that the keeper should be able to find someone there, you would imagine.
Here comes the kick out of McGrody again, straight down the middle. It's better this time from McGrody. It's picked up in the middle of Downings straight away. Sent inside the 45. Lorcan Connor is there. Connor fists it forward. Chance of a goal for Downings. Lorcan Connor sidesteps the challenge. Saved by the Letterkenny Gaels goalkeeper, but it's going to go out to the right and wide. Connor had a second go at it. Good save by Ryan Graham. And Lorcan Connor with a real threat, but Graham stood up to the effort, and it results in a kick to come from Letterkenny Gaels, Brendan. Yeah,
for a kick out. On that occasion, the kick out worked exceptionally well. Brilliant ball into Lorcan Connor, and we know the threat that he possesses inside. He linked up well with Eric Roberts, and unfortunately for them, the keeper Ryan Graham made a great save. His brother Shane was in goals for the Letterkenny reserves, who just won the Junior B.
The Gaels have possession again in and around the middle third. Back inside to Darren Hunter. And now to Sean McDonough. The score of the only point so far in this game for Letterkenny Gaels. By the way, on the clock with almost 12 minutes played. It's a 2 points to 1 game. Johnny McGrody with back-to-back scores in the opening couple of minutes for Downings, as they were in total control. But then that point from McDonough in 5 minutes got the Gaels back into it. And to be fair, since then, the Gaels have had most of the possession, the better of the play. But they've also kicked 4 wides, and they haven't converted that on the scoreboard. Oisín McElhinney will again carry it down the right hand side underneath the stand here at the O'Donnell Park. Conor Walker's going to come back infield as they recycle the ball again to Jeremy McCahill. And again, Downings just quite happy to keep Letterkenny Gaels out, let them hold on to possession and invite them on. Cian Lynch is going to lob a high one in here looking for McBurty, and Ben McNutt's able to get a hand to it. He found difficulty in keeping it in play, and it's going to be a 45 now to Letterkenny Gaels. As we look at the goalkeeper, Ryan Graham, who's going to take this one. This, of course, is modern day football. It's a case now that most goalkeepers are the men that come and take the 45s and take the long distance frees. And Ryan Graham is quite happy to take his time to work his way up as far as the 45 in the Downings half. In this opening half, Letterkenny Gaels playing from left to right. You know the ground here in Letterkenny, that's kicking into the River Swilly end of the ground, and this will tie up the game with 13 minutes on the clock. Young Ryan Graham sizing this one up to level it up. Here he comes with this 45 on the right. It has the height. Is it going to drop over the bar? Yeah, brilliant score by young Ryan Graham. And now Letterkenny Gaels are level. Yes, on the balance of play, they should be further ahead. A lovely strike here at the O'Donnell Park by the Gaels goalkeeper, Brendan. Yeah, really true strike, straight through the ball. I think you knew as soon as it left his boot that it was going to go over the bar. So brilliant score from Ryan Graham, the keeper coming up. We saw Sean Patton do it last week for St. Junans. And again, we're looking at here, Downey have got their kick out away again on this occasion, because they did struggle with it early. And you just see the bodies dropping back. Letterkenny Gaels are getting a lot of bodies back. Johnny McGrody flicks it inside to Pasoma. Back it comes to Danny McBride, and now it's with one of the boys from the middle of the park, Oisín. He gives it to Shane, and now it's Lorcan Connor out hugging the edge of the 45, trying to get round to Cian Lynch, which he does. This is good from Connor. There's a foul in there as well. It's going to be about 25 metres out, slightly off to the right for a high challenge on Lorcan Connor coming in over the top. But it's going to be a free, and it's going to give Lorcan Connor the opportunity to put Downings back in front here with nearly 15 minutes played. And there's a bit of a breeze today. Looking at the flags, it would seem to favour Downings in this opening half. Kicking into the scoreboard end of the ground, the clubhouse end of the O'Donnell Park, as Larkin Connor looks to get his opening score of this Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure Donegal Junior A Championship decider. Here comes Connor on the right boot. He kicks it high, but he kicks it wide. Wide number 3 for Downings. It stays at a 2-2 game.
Yeah, that disappointing end result there from Larkin from the point of view, he's going to be a key man for Downings today. We know the ability he has, and he can really cause this Letterkenny Gaels defence trouble if they can get enough ball into him. And Keelan McGrady, they're going to be the key men for Downings, and it's important that they get the service into them. And Larkin looks sharp early on. He's been out in front of his man and won the first few balls that came into him, that goal chance that nearly came off. So that's going to be a big facet of this game. So it is, Oisín.
We have the water break. Referee Mark Brown has given the players the chance to get some fluids on board. So we've got 15 minutes on the clock, and it's tied at 2 points apiece. And we're watching Kevin Cookie Gallagher giving instructions to the Downings men. It was going much better for them in the opening couple of minutes, Brendan. What do they need to revert back to now? Yeah, well, again, we identified they struggled on their own kick out there for 5 or 10 minutes, and I actually saw Barney Curran there speaking to the keeper, John McGrady, possibly tell him to calm down, that there are options available to him. Letterkenny Gaels are kind of gone zonal on their protection of the kick out, and the Downings will need to do better from their own kickouts, because they did struggle for that period of time, and that was the big period of dominance for Letterkenny Gaels, where they got the couple of scores that they got. But we also saw them their shot selection. They kicked 4 wides in the space of 5 or 6 minutes at that time, Oisín. So we're going to resume play once again, and is the referee just having a word with Conor Walker? Don't think there was anything too sinister in it, but Ryan Graham is going to take the kick out, and we will resume the action here in Letterkenny for this Junior A decider. So Walker straight down the middle. The ball breaks, and again it's picked up by Downings. Both sides struggling with their own kickouts. McBride just launches it into the danger zone. It's going to drop around about the 20-metre line. Keelan McGrady's there. He's going to go back to Johnny McGrady, who's got the 2 points so far for Downings. But for the first time this afternoon, one drops into the hands of Ryan Graham and Letterkenny Gaels. Now, we'll be looking to work it back up the left-hand side. Downings have continued to commit players further up the pitch as they try and put a bit of pressure on the back line of the Gaels. Sean McDonough, one of the point scorer for Letterkenny Gaels now, with a bit of space, carrying it forward. He's going to flick this over the top to McElhinney. McElhinney now underneath the stand, met by a couple of Downings men. Needs to go back to his midfield partner, Doherty. Doherty is able to take a return from McDonough as Downings continue to try and put a bit of pressure on the man on the ball. Cian Lynch knocks it forward, and the Gaels now with a bit of room down the left hand side. They're homing in on the 20. This is good work here with a short hand passing game. Brian Dever, however, goes into the challenge. He can't really do that. He needs to release the ball. There's enough of green jerseys there back for Downings, including Kevin Doherty, who wins a free. Good defensive work from the Dunoff. Yeah, there's plenty of bodies back there again, and the Kenny Gaels carrying the ball into contact. When that defensive shield is up, they're going to be turned over, and it's what transition now Downings can get, because they have gone out of the game in the last 10 minutes and they need to get their mojo back. Keelan McGrady, who was playing a big part in those opening 5 minutes, looking to get back into the game for Downings, is able to get round the challenge of Paddy Doherty with ease, coming back in field across the 45. They're going to send it over to the right. Lining up now is Pádraig McGinty, but McGinty's been met by Jeremy O'Cahill. McGinty's going to be forced back. Larkin Connor takes the ball, and Downings now are going to send it to the edge of the Letterkenny Gaels half, where it's picked up by Alan Pasoma. Pasoma to Oisín Boyle. Boyle is challenged by Paddy Doherty. Referee Mark Brown saying that Doherty had used the knee on the side of Boyle, so it's going to be a free just on the edge of the 45. We're going to wait to see if anybody's going to take this on from distance, and the referee's going to call it back. It's going to be 50 metres out, so it is. Johnny McGrady's got his hands on the ball for Downings, and He's looking up to see what the movement's like. He's going to go short, sent under the edge of the D to Larkin Connor. Back to Johnny McGrody again, shows the dummy, flicks the ball over the top. Letterkenny Gaels haven't dealt with it properly because it's with the Downings man again. Danny McBride has been judged to have overcarried the ball on the edge of the D in the Letterkenny Gaels half. And Letterkenny Gaels looking to get on with it quickly with Sean McDonough. And Darren Hunter, now the captain for Gaels, is going to orchestrate another attack coming down the left hand side underneath the Our Leisure Centre. It's flicked in forward as the Gaels wait on support once again. Back to McDonough now in the middle of the park, out to Oisin McElhinney. McElhinney gives it off to Walker again. Walker's going to go back the way to McDonough, asking a bit much of him. On the chase was Oisin Boyle for Downings, but the Gaels with Paddy Doherty are still able to hold on to it. And now Conor Brown has laid it off to Kieran Lynch once again. Back over to the other side of the pitch for Letterkenny Gaels. Crossing the 45. Gaels still in possession, as Downings are quite happy to let them have possession and try and force them back. Diver's going to give it to Conor Brown, and they're going to come down the right hand side. McElhinney is ahead of Brown again, goes to pop it over the top. It's a weak effort. It's easily dealt with by Keelan McGrody. He's looking to step back in, but a high challenge there by Conor Brown, who holds his hand up and just signals to the referee. Yeah, he knows he done wrong. The play continues, and now Downings with another attack. Danny McBride out to the right hand side. Chasing it down is James Lee McBride. Letterkenny Gaels have managed to get men back inside their own 45. To Alan Pasoma. Pasoma to Oisin Boyle. Boyle for Downings, waits for support as Park McGinty comes forward. McGinty sends it over the top. There's just a wee bit too much pace in that by McGinty, asking a bit much of Keelan McGrody, and it's going to go over the end line, and it stays at 2 points apiece. We have 20 minutes on the clock. We haven't had a score for 7 minutes. All four scores in this game, 2 apiece, coming in the opening 13 minutes. And this one's gone a bit flat, so it has, Brendan Kilcoyne.
It has, yeah, and looking back at the senior final last week too, it was only when the goal came that it livened up, and perhaps we got a goal in this game. But the way both teams are tactically set up, they're very defensive, so they are, and it made the danger men. Conor McBrearty for Gaels and Larkin Connor for Downings aren't been able to get on the ball in dangerous areas. Larkin is coming out deeper and he's getting on ball, but Downings will want him getting on ball inside where he can cause more trouble.
Kevin Doherty has launched it up into the Letterkenny Gaels half, where it's met by James Lee McBride. Back it comes now to Danny McBride. Larkin Connor trying to find a bit of space to get onto that right boot. Larkin Connor gets around a couple of challenges. He's closed out, fisted back to McBride. He has a go, and that one's going to go over the bar, and Downings have got the score, which puts them in front, and it's come from Alan Pasoma. Downings 3, Letterkenny Gaels 2. We've got that score we were waiting on, Brendan.
Yeah, and it came from that man. It was all the work that Larkin Connor did. He was been pracked by 3 or 4 defenders, Letterkenny Gaels defenders. He drew them in and popped the ball out to Alan Pasoma, who was dropping back and doing a lot of sweeping for Downings, and he kicked a delightful point over the bar with his left foot.
Kick towards the middle. Shane Boyle gets a hand on it. The ball breaks, and again it's picked up by Downings as they look now to try and go and double their advantage. Flicked out to the left hand channel. Keelan McGrody has it. He's going to be met by Conor Walker. McGrody's going to knock it back to the 45. Danny McBride is there, and Johnny McGrody once again looking up to see what the options are. He's going to flick it out to the fullback Tiernan McBride, who's worked his way up the field. Back to Keelan McGrody. Needs to get on to the right. There was room on the left, but he needed to turn to the right. Then he was closed out. It's back to Oisin Boyle again. There's the room for Oisin Boyle to have a go on the right, but he drops the ball. He's able to pick it back up into his grasp. Keelan McGrody sends it across to Parrot McGinty. Now there's a bit of room coming down the right hand channel. The point score, Alan Pasoma is going to run into traffic, run into trouble. He does well to get it away to Danny McBride, who turns on to the left. That one drops over the bar, and now Downings have hit back-to-back scores as they go 4-2 in front.
Yeah, really well worked score. We saw a number of the defenders, Tiernan McBride coming up the whole way from full back, and then the experienced and excellent footballer Danny McBride found a pocket of space inside the D and again clipped it over the bar. Similar point in a lot of ways to Alan Pasoma's point.
So Ryan Graham is going to come with a kick out. It'd be interesting to see the stat on the percentages of won and lost from the kick outs, but it looks like Gaels may have got this one thanks to a foul being committed by the Downings men. And it's going to be a free just in the edge of the Letterkenny half. And he's back on his feet. He's okay. It's Park McGinty.
Yeah, Park McGinty. He's okay.
He's okay.
Yeah.
And Connor Walker will take this free now for Letterkenny Gaels as they look to get back in this game. So since we had the water break, the better football has been played by Downings. They've got the scores on the board and they lead here with 23 minutes on the clock by 4 points to 2. So is there an answer now in the Gaels? Mark Brown has called Jeremy O'Cahill for over carrying, and they've given possession back again now to Downings. A mistake by the Letterkenny wing back. Downings work it quickly up the field. Again it's with Larkin Connor. Spreads it out to the right hand channel. Kevin Doherty is there. Kevin Gooch Doherty. Back now to McGrody. McGrody, if he sees Johnny McGrody's free ahead of him, instead he steps on to his right boot, and that one drops over the bar. It needed the hand of Ryan Graham as well. And Downings have punished them for over carrying. 5-2 on the scoreboard, Brendan.
Yeah, and interestingly, the last 3 points have been kicked from inside the D. Downings are able to create them pockets of space inside the D or in that general area and kick the ball over the bar, whereas if you revert and you look at Letterkenny Gaels shot selection, they're shooting from out wide, they're taking shots on that perhaps aren't the best idea kind of thing. But 3 great scores from Downings there in the last few minutes.
Now Letterkenny Gaels have won the kick out, but they've been dispossessed, and it was Keelan McGrody was in there, Ross Cullen was there, and Johnny McGrody putting pressure on Paddy Doherty. And they've won a free as well in the 45, just underneath us in the stand. And I don't think Letterkenny Gaels have actually created too many attacks since the water break, Brendan.
They haven't, no. And again, it's the slow, methodical play that they're just too slow breaking down the Downings defence, creating loads of space out wide and that, but not getting into the scoring area.
Johnny McGrody is going to take this free. Back it goes to Alan Pasoma. The latest score, by the way, in the Donegal Under-21 Championship preliminary round. It's Niamh Connell won 8-11, Kilcar won 9-12. A 1.1 I'm being told for Kilcar in that Under-21 Championship as the old rivals battle at that age group, and it's Kilcar who progress to the next stage of the competition. We're here at the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny, and there's a free being taken by Shane Boyle of Downings, which would have put them 6-2 up, but that would be a 4th wide of the game for Downings, and it stays 5-2 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, brilliant spot that time by Danny McBride, who saw Shane Boyce inside, picked him out, he called the mark, but unfortunately for him then he kicked it wide at the far post. But good opportunity and smart play from Danny McBride on that occasion.
Ryan Graham with the kick out again, and it's won by Downings, and going up for it was Shane Boyce, and the free will be taken, goes to Johnny McGrody. McGrody's going to pop it in now to Oisin Boyce. Danny McBride gives it to Johnny McGrody again. There's a spring in the step now of the men from Downings as they look to build and try and build on this advantage. Coming down the right hand side is Shane Boyce once again, picked up in the pocket, back to Alan Pasoma and Larkin Connor, who's creating a lot of opportunities for Downings with his work rate. Park McGinty has it on the Letterkenny Gaels 45, needs support with Ross Cullen. Cullen gives it inside to Kevin Doherty. Doherty turns on to the left, but his effort goes out to the right and wide, and that would be wide number 5 for Downings. But it stays in the scoreboard 5-2. We are about to hit 3 minutes to go to end the first half, but Downings really should be further in front in this one, Brendan.
They should be further in front, yeah. They've had good opportunity, that was a good opportunity. Again, they need to get their shooters on the ball, they need to get Keelan McGrody on the ball, they need to get Lorky Connor, Danny McBride, these type of players to get in them scoring positions, because we've seen that they can convert, and it's important that they do translate their supremacy at this time onto the scoreboard, Oisin. And
again they've lost, Letterkenny Gaels have lost a kick out, won by Downings, into Kevin Doherty. Doherty's effort is blocked down. Soccer style, was able to turn a couple of challenges, gets it into his grasp again. Now it's given out to Roberts, who turns on to the left, and Roberts' effort's going to hang in the air, and it's going to drop over the bar, and a lovely score out on the right hand side. It went over the bar. It's a 6-2 game now in favour of Downings, and I would say Letterkenny Gaels would be quite happy to see the half-time whistle shortly. We're about 2 minutes, whatever additional time is going to be ended on at the end of the half, but they cannot find any sort of rhythm. I think they need to change their kick-out strategy as well, Brendan.
Yeah, both teams, we've seen them struggle on their own kick-outs. So the opposition teams are dominating opposition kick-outs, so they are today on both sides. And again, we see the boys, particularly the two big boysmen in the middle of the field, they're really dominating the Letterkenny Gaels kick-out, and that's given the platform for which they've built up that 4-point lead, Oisín.
They're going now looking to make that a 5-point advantage. Danny McBride, who's been very good at centre half forward for Downings, lays it off again to Pádraig McGinty as they work it back as far as Gooch Doherty. Lovely pass out to Keelan McGrody. McGrody steps on to the right. He's got a bit of time and room here, McGrody. He'll not be happy with that. Dips out to the left and wide. Wide number 6 for Downings.
Yeah, and brilliant ball across the field that time from Kevin Gooch Doherty. Picked him out the outside of the boot in loads of space, and you would expect him to maybe to have had a better go at that. You would expect him to put over with the quality that he has to put that one over the bar. But listen, 6 points to 2 to Downings. Deservedly so, they're leading. As we were saying earlier, Letterkenny Gaels are really struggling on their own kick out, and they'll be glad to get into the dressing room and try and get that sorted some way.
And I think that's possibly just the second kick out that Letterkenny Gaels have won from their own kick out in this half. It was by Paddy Doherty. He's able to send Sean McDonough on his way. Ahead of McDonough is Cannon. Also there is Diver. He's going to have to come back and wait for McBurty, who's out in a much deeper role now. McDonough's going to send it to the middle to Oisín McElhinney, and now it's flicked forward to Jeremy O'Cahill. O'Cahill's got his captain Darren Hunter there. Hunter onto the 13. The angle's too tight for Hunter. He's going to have to work it back as far as McCahill. We're going to have 1 minute of additional time added on at the end of the half. We're about to start that. The midfield men of McElhinney and Doherty linking up for the Gaels as they go on the hunt for a score. They haven't had one since the 13th minute. We're about to hit the half-hour mark. Letterkenny Gaels may be looking to end this half by getting something back on the scoreboard again. It's possession from a very tight angle out in the edge of the 20. It's going to drop in front of the Downings goal. And in there, I think it's Conor Walker, is it? It's Walker that had a go, but it went into the hands of the keeper, John McGrody. There wasn't enough support in there. There wasn't enough white jerseys in there to help him out on that occasion. And Downings were able to come away with the ball easily. And it's another of them midfield boysmen. Oisín sends McGinty on his way. And now, as we go to the closing seconds of the half, there's an opportunity for Downings to possibly increase their lead to 5. On the scoreboard, they have an advantage of 6 points to 2. Johnny McGrody has got 2 of those for Downings. Steps inside the 45. McGrody, well, he has to turn and come back the way. There is support ahead of him, but he wants to go on his own here. He wants to get back onto that dangerous right foot. McGrody has another effort. That's 2 wides now for Johnny McGrody. He did score the opening 2 points of the game on the wide count. That's now 7 for Downings. It stays in the scoreboard 6-2 with a half-time whistle to come.
Yeah, and again, interestingly on that occasion, you're looking at the Letterkenny defence. While they have plenty of bodies back, Downings are able to prize a shooting position in just off the D. We're on the contrary, on the other side down there, and it's due to some great work on the outside of the press from the likes of Danny McBride, Johnny McGrady, who are putting pressure on the Letterkenny Gaels players when they're playing around and forcing the error, forcing the turnovers. Whereas Letterkenny Gaels have been able to work their area, work the ball into the more advantageous area around the D and get shots off. And okay, they have kicked a lot of wides. They've kicked 7 wides against Letterkenny Gaels 4, but they've been the dominant team and they deservedly lead by 4 points at half time, 6 points to 2 Oisín.
Yeah, just looking at the flags, there's a bit of a stiff breeze here at the O'Donnell Park. It was to the advantage of Downings in that opening half. We'll wait to see if it's going to be to the advantage of Letterkenny Gaels in the second half. The Gaels, as we know, celebrating their 25th anniversary. They have won the Donegal Junior B final today, but now there's a big question asked of them. Can they come back? 4 points down at half time. They're going to need a big third quarter, so they are, Brendan.
Absolutely, they're going to really need to come out of the dressing room at half time, sort out their issues with the kick out, which both teams seem to be struggling for, but more so Letterkenny Gaels in the last 15-20 minutes. But it's the platform that the two Boyces, Oisín Boyce and Shane Boyce, are given Downings around the middle of the park from them kickouts that has given them the opportunity to get them 4 points lead. Again, you're looking at Cookie and Barney Kern going into the dressing room. They'll know that everything is not right, but they'll be happy that they're 4 points ahead and that they're dominating possession and they're creating better chances than Letterkenny Gaels. Letterkenny Gaels shots are too speculative. They're from outside the scoring zone, and we saw even the last shot that went in there that probably shouldn't have been taken on by a forward. It was more hit and hope into the square. So Letterkenny Gaels have a lot of sorting to do at half time. They haven't scored for 15 minutes, for 18 minutes kind of thing, so they're under pressure, and Sean McBrayer would be glad to get them in at half time.
So as we go back to the studio in the mountain top, not too far from here, it is Downings who are leading in this Donegal Junior A Championship final against Letterkenny Gaels by 6 points to 2. We'll have live second half commentary for you shortly here on Highland Sunday Sport. But in the meantime, if you are of course tuned to the Donegal GAA streaming service this afternoon where you're watching this match unfold, we're going to cross now to Kieran O'Donnell and get some half-time reaction. Kieran.
I'm joined by Jim McGlynn from the Letterkenny Gaels. Jim, 6 points to 2 down at half time. What's your views on the first half?
Yeah, a bit concerning at this stage. We were nervous at the start. Their full-back, Johnny McGruddy, got in for 2 lovely scores. We settled well then, and good possession football, and managed to get it back to level. Started to lose it a bit then in midfield. A bit worried around. We're just picking up crumbs there. Downings, in fairness to them, are playing a very direct game, and we're really up against it now going into the second half.
Jim, you mentioned before we came on air there, a big day for the club, and obviously the reserves set the tone for you in the first game.
I'm absolutely so delighted for our reserves. First adult club title. Great bunch of guys. I've known them, a lot of them, since they're underage. I met one of them on the way up there, Anthony McDade. Anthony's been a servant since day one. Congratulations to them. Also, I want to commiserate with Lifford. I've always great admiration for Lifford. I was chatting to Kevin Turish, one of their greatest members. They've done Trojan work. They keep coming back, and hopefully they will come back again. They've developed lovely playing pits there now again, upgraded their facilities. On a sad note, I actually learned of the passing of one of my classmates during the week, a brother of one of the main supporters of Lifford, Austin Daly's brother Tom, and Tom passed away sadly during the week, and the sympathies to all the Daly family in the club.
And Jim, moving back to the game before we let you go, what do the Letterkenny Gaels need to do in the second half to get back into things?
We need to start winning ball around the middle, and maybe we have to throw a bit more caution to the wind to try and go at their defence. I think there's chances there. We've created chances. Maybe we took the wrong options in the first half. We need to get players into good scoring positions and maybe just go a bit more full on in the second half. It's championship football. You only get one chance, and this is it.
Jim, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Here, amidst the leafy splendour of suburbia, we're on the trail of an amazing example of natural evolution. Ecodanium heatus pumpi, commonly known as the Ecodan heat pump. Ah, there's one now. Perfectly adapted to Irish conditions, it cleverly converts renewable energy from the air to heat both home and water, while emitting up to 50% less carbon compared to fossil-fueled heating systems. So homeowners are happy, and so too is our planet.
Hey, you get out of my garden!
Homo sapien auratus. Best be going.
The Ecodan heat pump from Mitsubishi Electric, the natural evolution of home heating.
I'm joined by Anthony Boyle from the Downings club. Anthony, you'll be happy at half time?
Happy enough, Kieran, certainly with the scoreboard. Not happy with the performance at the moment. While Big Shane Boyce is playing well in the middle of the field, we're not capitalising on what he is producing for us. Kicked a lot of very kickable wides there, should have scored. Not happy with that, I have to say.
Got off the flying start, 2 points after the first 3 minutes from run Johnny McGruddy, and that seemed to settle things.
Aye. I was afraid after last year that they would start poorly. The boys talked about, we talked about that before the game, but that was a good start for us, certainly, yeah.
So, 4 points to good. What's going to be the net message for the second half?
Well, I'd like to be in there giving it at the moment. But I think if we don't concede goals, if we get a goal, obviously make a huge difference. But they're dangerous. There's a couple of very big men on the 14, and I imagine they'll play a lot of long balls in on top of us to see if they can open the door.
Anthony, I won't keep you back. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Kieran. Cheers.
Okay, thank you. Cheers, Anthony. Thanks very much.
And you're very welcome back here to the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny as we await the second half of this Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure Donegal Junior A Championship decider to get underway. We already have Downings back out onto the pitch. If you have been following the coverage on the Donegal GA streaming service or indeed on Highland Radio this afternoon, you will know that Downings are leading at the break by 6 points to 2, and certainly that second quarter performance by the Naduna men was very, very impressive. They had 4 unanswered scores from Alan Basoma, Danny McBride, Keelan McGrody and Eric Roberts to lead at the break by 4. Brendan Kilcoyne is on co-commentary with me this afternoon, and I think a fair assessment is it could have been an 8-point lead, so it could have, Brendan.
Yeah, it probably should be more than 4, so it should. And just Letterkenny Gaels don't have the threat inside. They've big Conor McBrearty. I know he's been injured, but he hasn't got any ball inside the scoring zone, inside the square where he'd want to be getting ball, kind of thing. Yeah, he can kick from distance, but Letterkenny Gaels need something different. They need to move the ball quicker, to try and transition it quicker, to get at the Downey defence. And you might be looking at someone like Kieran Feather coming on. He'll add a spark to that Letterkenny Gaels forward line, because it just doesn't have a spark. Sean McDonough is only one of the starting 6 forwards, or the only outfield player that has scored from play, because their other point came from a brilliant Ryan Hunter 45. So they really need to up their game in this quarter here, Oshie.
Okay, just to let you know, we're going to have the Michael Murphy Sportsman of the match at the end of this game. We've got Brendan Kilcoyne beside me. Also adjacent to us as well is Tom Comack and Francie Friel. So that's going to be our judging panel, just to let them know for our man of the match at the end of this game. Letterkenny Gaels are back out. We're about to get the second half underway. I'm sure the Gaels have had a stern talking in that dressing room as they look to crawl back this deficit. The last man to come out of the changing room for them is Conor McBrearty, who'll be looking for a big half. He immediately goes in up top. The Gaels in the second half will be playing from right to left, kicking into the scoreboard end of the ground. That was the scoring goals in the first half that give the Dun of the advantage, and Mark Brown just instructing the players to get back onto the 45 in the Downings half for the throw-in, and we have the second half up and running. So it's going to be crucial, these opening scores of the second half, as Letterkenny Gaels go on the hunt for those, and they've won a free now inside the Downings half. Porrick McGinty, committing that foul. The ball launched in by Paddy Doherty. A wasteful effort by Doherty. Well, he had a good idea. He was looking for the big man McBrearty up top, but just too much power on it. It goes out for a wide, and that would be wide number 5 in the second half. Letterkenny Gaels will be looking for more of that in this half, Brendan.
Yeah, and it might be an indication that they are going to try and get quicker ball into Conor McBrearty, because he kind of let fly pretty quick there, so he did, but it was too much air in it way. It was always going wide as soon as he left his boots, so they need to be more refined if they're going to try and get ball into Conor. They need to be more refined in their execution of them kicks.
Up the park it goes. It's picked up by Danny McBride's interception, or his pass is intercepted rather, by Cormac Cannon, who is fouled as well. It's knocked back to Dermot O'Cahill, and now Darren Hunter, the captain, centre half back for the Gaels, as they look to build another attack and try and bring down this deficit. It's with Sean McDonough at the moment. One of the scores of their 2 points, the other came from the goalkeeper Ryan Graham. That was a 45 in the 13th minute of the tie, and since then the Gaels have not managed to register a score. Paddy Doherty looking to see who was moving up top again, looking for McBrearty, but McBrearty's been well marshalled, so he is by the Downings defence. Niall Divert fists it forward to Dermot O'Cahill. O'Cahill's coming back in field. This was good by O'Cahill on the edge of the D, turns on to the right. It's going to hang in the air and go out for another wide number 6 for the Gaels, and O'Cahill will be disappointed with that effort.
Yeah, certainly flattered to deceive. He did really, really well. He took on 3 Downings defenders, cut inside and got it on his right foot, but the finish didn't match the build-up play or what he'd done before that, and it went well. As soon we were right behind it here, and you could see that it was tailing wide as soon as it left his boot again, Oisín. But a bit better from Letterkenny Gaels at the start of the second half. But again, Oisín, I was looking at, Darren Hunter won that ball, and his first instinct was to go back and to play the ball back on the slow, methodical build-up. And you're doing that all the time, and Downings are getting their defenders back, they're getting their structure, which is pretty good, in place, and making it more difficult for Letterkenny Gaels.
Yeah, Cormac Cannon lays it off. It's with Jeremy O'Cahill. He's made up for that other wide. Well, the umpire has signalled that one's wide as well. O'Cahill thought it went over the bar, so 3 wides in these opening 3 minutes of the half for the Gaels. It stays at 6 points to 2.
Yeah, and they didn't argue it too much, but from our angle here it certainly looked that it was over the bar, but there was no major objection from the Letterkenny Gaels players, so maybe we were just looking at it wrong, Oisín, or we didn't have a good cut at it, but I thought that was a brilliant point that he'd swung it and it gone over the bar.
We've got the kick to come from John McGruddy, who struggled with the long kickouts at times in the opening half for Downings. He's gone short on this occasion. Kevin Gooch-Doherty. Downings looking to build it again up the middle. Oisín Boyce sends Alan Pasoma on his way. Gives it to James Lee McBride. That one's flicked forward onto the edge of the 13 to Lorcan Connor. That's a super tackle in there by the defender of the Gaels, the corner back Niall Diver. Able to pop it out of the grasp of Lorcan Connor, and now the Gaels again can work it forward. Brian Diver with a bit of room, but he's going to be met by Shane Boyce. Sends it out to the right, takes the return. This is good running from Brian Diver, a cousin of Niall Diver. Coming back in field, he's going to be met by a couple of green shirts. It's just lumped forward, looking for McBurty, but it didn't really have the proper delivery on it, and it was easily dealt with by Ross Cullen, who was playing the sweeper's role on that occasion. And once again, Downings can come up through the middle with Oisín Boyce. Boyce gives it now to Doherty once again. Doherty coming across the 45. He's been met by Gaels players. Swings at it with the right boot, but it's going to be easily dealt with in there by the fullback Connor Brown. He's able to come away with it. Not enough power on it to trouble the post at all in the Downings half, and Connor Brown's continued his run way up the field. Powerful running from Brown. He gives it off. Letterkenny Gaels still have it, just hugging that sideline on the Ora centre of the pitch here. As we said, the Gaels playing from right to left in this second half. Picked up by Diver once again. I've been corrected. Apparently Brian and Niall Diver are brothers. We were told later they were cousins. Down to Kieran Lynch. Lynch is going to take it back again to Darren Hunter, and then to Lynch. Lynch sends it back into the middle, right on the line in the middle of the park, where Paddy Doherty is there. And again, Downings are just playing this game. They're letting the Gaels have possession. An effort from deep, looking for McBurty. McBurty does well to keep it in. Looking for McBurty again, flicking it forward, but again enough of the defenders in there for Downings. They're able to get it away with McBride. And the long ball into McBurty, still not working for the Gaels.
No, it's not. And again, on that occasion, whilst he did well to break it down for the player, there was too many Downings defenders around him, and they were able to gather up the ball, sweep it up, and break away again out in transition again. So they are. But I'm just, the Downings are showing a lot more momentum forward momentum when they are breaking forward, whereas the methodical slow play of Letterkenny Gaels has been too easily managed by this Downings defence.
Yeah, Mark Brown calling for over carrying, which was a bit harsh on Danny McBride. Now the ball goes forward, looking for Connor Walker of the Gaels. We're still awaiting the first score of the second half. 6 minutes on the clock. On the scoreboard is still a 6-2 game. Things starting to get a bit dull here as well around the O'Donnell Park. Now the light's starting to fade. It's getting a wee bit greyer and duller around the Letterkenny venue. Cormac Cannon now, centre half forward for the Gaels. Oh, it's caught out by Pádraig McGinty. McGinty was quickest to it. He was sharper than the rest around him. And Downings can create another attack. McGinty gives it off to Boyce. Boyce now finds Pasoma. Pasoma with a bit of room heading into the Gaels half. He has to wait for support. Big frame of Shane Boyce was moving forward, but instead he's going to go to Connor Boyce, or to Oisín Boyce, excuse me. Danny McBride sends it over the top. Downings on the hunt for a 7th point in this game. Again, it's Lorcan Connor turning on to the right, and that's a lovely score by Downings. That's the first point of the second half. That's the first point of the game for Lorcan Connor. and they go 5 in front, 7-2 with 7 minutes on the clock in the second half.
Yeah, really good score from Larky on his first score of the game. He's been well marshalled by Niall Diver, but on that occasion, Danny McBride, really smart footballer, knows that he has to get the ball to Larkin, to the danger man, because he knows the ability he has to kick scores. And on that occasion, Larkin won the ball. He was wide enough, but he kicked a brilliant score over his shoulder to put them 5 points ahead in the first score of the second half. So, worrying times for Letterkenny Gaels, and I'm surprised that there haven't been made any changes as of yet, because it's just not happening for them today.
Downings are on the move again, looking for another score. It's going to come back the way to Kevin Gooch Doherty, picked up by Shane Boyce. Boyce to Doherty again, and they send it over to the left flank. Back infield to Shane Boyce. Patient football, patient build-up. Launched over the top. The man in space is Alan Basoma. Basoma with time in his hands, flicks it inside to Boyce over the top. Chance of a goal here for Downings. Comes off the post, back into the hands of Basoma. It's into the back of the net, and we've got the first score. The first goal of this game has come from Alan Basoma, and now that lead has gone from 5 to 8. Alan Basoma coming up the field to stick the ball in the back of the net. That's a massive score in this game in the third quarter, so it is, Brendan.
Huge in the context of the game. You know, a 5-point lead out to an 8-point lead is huge, so it is, because Letterkenny Gaels at the moment aren't showing the ability that they can break this down, and that was really well worked. Again, we saw Alan Pasoma over here. He was marked, there was no one within 20-30 yards of him in the middle of that move. The ball ended up, they worked it through the hands, hit the upright, came back, and Alan Pasoma just put it under the keeper into the back of the net. Really good finish from Pasoma, who's having a fine game.
It's an 8-point game in favour of Downings. It's 10 plays 2, 1-7-2. The Gaels now, there's huge questions off the Gaels. Of course, we're here 2 years ago and lost out in a decider. They're going to send it back to the middle, where there is Sean McDonough. McDonough now to Brian Diver once again, looking for the movement up top. Out comes Brendan O'Brien, who can't control it, and it's gone out, and it's going to be judged as another wide, and that would be wide number 7. And there's going to be a couple of changes now made by Sean McBurty, the Letterkenny Gaels manager, and changes that are badly needed if they're going to try and reduce this deficit and get back into this game.
Yeah, it's Kieran Kilfeather and Ray Quinn. It's a double substitution, and they really need to add something here now, because this Letterkenny Gaels assault on the junior championship looks very timid at the moment. There's just, they don't seem to be able to create the proper opportunities in the right areas, and they've looked very timid. So they have, and you know, when you consider, Oisín, that they haven't scored since the 13th minute, and we're now 10 minutes into the second half.
They're not out of this yet. We've seen, of course, scores coming very late in matches yesterday. Narossa, of course, winning their promotion playoff with the last kick of the game last night, and Termon with a goal in the last kick of the game, defeating Glenfin to get promoted as well. Termon were 7 points down at one stage in that tie, and the two players coming off are Brendan O'Brien and Kieran Lynch, while end of the game comes Kieran Kilfeather and Ray Quinn. Can they make the difference? A difference in this Gaels side to try and get what would be just a third point, first of all, to try and get them motoring again. But Downings look very, very comfortable on the ball, and it's with Danny McBride, who is very much a contender for the Michael Murphy Sports Man of the Match for the Donegal streaming service this afternoon as well. Back it goes to Pasoma. Tiernan McBride actually. McBride to Doherty, flicked over the top to Oisín Boyce once again, and that's going to come now to Pasoma. Pasoma's going to be met by Quinn just under the frame for the Gaels. Pasoma, the scorer of the goal, waits and support, gives it again to Shane Boyce, back to James Lee McBride, and then again to Kevin Doherty and Danny McBride. This suits Downings to hold on to possession, keep control of the ball. They lead here by 8 points. Coming down the right hand channel is James Lee McBride, stepping inside, but again Mark Brown has called for overcarrying, and it's going to be a free to the Gaels. Taken quickly now, Cormac Cannon going to send it forward to Kilfeather, who gets his first touch, the second half substitute for the Gaels, taking on Tiernan McBride. Coming across the 45 has to wait for support. Challenge came in from the side by Danny McBride. The referee says no foul was committed. McBride, the experienced McBride, charges forward. Now he gives it off to Shane Boyce. Flicked forward to Lorcan Connor. Connor back inside to Boyce. Boyce lays it off, but he was asking a bit much of Lorcan Connor on that occasion, and it's going to be a free out with a foul committed on Darren Hunter.
Yeah, and again it was brilliant work here just under us here on the stand side by Danny McBride. He really is leading this Downings team out today. Everything he's doing, his work rate is exceptional. The amount of tackles that he's getting in, he's working hard in their defensive setup and in the press, so he really is having a fine game, Danny McBride, for Downings.
Letterkenny Gaels are carrying the ball forward again with Paddy Doherty. It's knocked out to the right hand side. Cornerback Kevin Kilkenny has it. He's dispossessed. The ball breaks. Now Downings men are trying to crowd him out. He does well. He wants a free. Yeah, the referee signalled for a free, which will be sitting about 40 odd metres out, and the angle's a bit tight on this one for the Gaels, but if they have any sort of hope whatsoever of getting back into this tie, 13 minutes into the second half, having not scored since the 13th minute of the first half, they'll be looking for something very, very quickly. And they're going to have that free on the far side as we watch the replay of the goal. It came off the woodwork, the post, and fell into the hands of Alan Pasoma, who was involved in the lead up to the goal as well, as was the big man from the middle who worked his way up the field, Shane Boyce. But it was Pasoma was the man that knocked the ball into the back of the net, and that was the score which came in the 8th minute of the second half, which really put Downings in the driving seat. Well, I think it's fair to say, Brendan, that they were very much in the driving seat at that stage, but by the time the goal had came anyway.
Yeah, but you're 7 points to 2. A goal at that stage will bring Gaels right back into it. At this stage now, they need to get a goal, and they need to get it quick to give them some sort of hope. But at least they need to start getting the scoreboard ticking over again, because it's now a full half hour, over half an hour since they've kicked their last score, and that one has gone tail, long, high, and wide.
Yeah.
And Ryan Graham kicked a brilliant 45 in the first half. I was surprised he didn't come up and try and pop that one over the bar, but it went well wide from the attempt.
Yeah, and the kick out again to come. I did mention the light earlier on. It's got very, very grey here and dark. I would say this will be the last of the 3 o'clock throw-ins anyway, until springtime next year. There is, of course, Ulster campaign starting for Donegal sides next weekend. Newly crowned intermediate champions Cloughaneely are here on Saturday at the O'Donnell Park, with St Eunan's playing on their home patch for the senior intermediate clash against Glen of Mahara. They, of course, won the Derry Championship. Both of those matches have an early throw-in of 1:30 next weekend, so there shouldn't be any problem with fading light. The goal scorer, Pasoma, picks up possession, carries it down the right-hand side. Downings, of course, leading here comfortably by 8 points. We'll have the water break shortly for you, because we've played 15 minutes. Part McGinty picks it up about 50 metres out from the posts on the Gaels side, and he's overcarried the ball as well, and again it's going to be a free out to Letterkenny Gaels, which they look to get on with quickly. Ray Quinn's given the instruction to work it back to his wing back, and now the Gaels charging forward with McDonough, score of one of the 2 points. Again, just launches it up looking for McBurty, but there's far too many green jerseys back there, and it was far too easy for the defence to deal with that. They're asking a lot of the big man when you don't have much support up there, Brendan.
No, and they're +1 just under him there, and Ben McNutt did excellently really to win that ball from Conor McBrearty, and it's a sign of panic stations from Letterkenny Gaels now, because they could see, when you look up and you've the ball out in the middle of the field and you see that your full forward is marked 2-on-1, there's not really much point in letting it into him at that stage, because he's going to have great difficulty winning it. The chance of winning are very low. So listen, Letterkenny Gaels, whatever game plan they came with has well gone out the window now, and they're going to have to really come out and try and get some scores on the board, Oisín, because it's looking poor and derisory for them at the moment.
Shane Boyce once again for Downings. Highland Radio's coverage from this Donegal Junior A Championship final on Sunday Sport is in association with Boyce's Centra. Shop local, support local, with stores in Fulcara, Carrigart and Downings. The ball launched forward drops into the path of Eric Roberts. Score of one of the points in the first half for the Downings men. He scored when they notched up their 6th on the scoreboard. Over the top it goes. There's another opportunity from the edge of the D, but it's kicked wide by Downings, and
that's their first wide of the second half. And again, Aisling, I'm looking at Kevin Gooch Doherty. He's pinging lovely ball around the field. So that time he kicked 2 balls in. One of them was one. He came back out to him. He kicked it in again. It was a great scoring opportunity. Unfortunately for Downings, it just went wide. But Downings are playing all the football here. They're in total control. I see young Tiernan McBride. He was involved in the minors there a couple of years ago. He's picking up Kieran Kilfeather in there now, and he's looking really calm and composed on the ball. And defensively, Downings look that they're well set up. They don't seem to be under any pressure whatsoever, and they're forcing these wrong decisions into the Letterkenny Gaels. But all the big performances are coming from the Downings players. Johnny McGroddy has been excellent throughout, as has Kevin Gooch Gardy, Ben McNutt, Porrick McGinty. The 2 big men in the middle of the field, the 2 boys lads in the middle of the field have been superb. And then up front, Lorky is a target, he's an outlet, he's been well marshalled, but you've other players standing up then. Pasoma has been really good, he's going back sweeping, but he's also could contribute 1 goal and 1 point to the scoreboard. So he's been effective when he's getting forward, he's getting into pockets of space, allowing him to create them dangers, Aisling.
There's going to be a change made here in the Letterkenny Gaels side. Ben Gallagher is coming into the match. We're just watching to see who's working his way off the pitch. It looks like one of the midfielders, Paddy Doherty, is it? Oisin McElhinney. It's one of the midfield men anyway. Just down to our right hand side. Yes, Paddy Doherty.
Yeah.
Who's gone off?
No, it's Oisin McElhinney.
Is that okay?
Oisin McElhinney, yeah.
Oisin McElhinney's off. Yeah. Ben Gallagher is on. I'm outnumbered by the Unions men here today. So
no, I'm sure
Kieran O'Donnell agrees with you.
I'm sure Barney Curran and Cookie are more than happy with the way their team are performing. They're in top in all sectors of the field, and I can't see them in trouble here in this quarter, Oisin, based on what we've seen.
Pasoma inside the 13 has to go back to Danny McBride. McBride sends it to the 45 again to Shane Boyce, picked up by Oisin Boyce, and 2 men have controlled the middle of the park in this game for Downings, which was a crucial area of the tie, and they've really been untroubled in the middle in this one.
It's over the bar.
Yeah, it's a very, very good score, scored by Downings. That now means on the scoreboard it's 1-8 to 2 points, so it's 11 plays 2. It's a 9-point game, and Keelan McGroddy gets his 2nd off the tie here for Downings.
Yeah, and a brilliant strike from Keelan McGroddy, and again that man again, Danny McBride was involved with it. He got the ball, he knew that he was boxed in, and he just switched the play, and it worked his way over to Keelan McGroddy, who kicked a fine score.
Big long ball into Conor McBurty, looking to turn the defence. McBurty going in, he goes to ground, fists it across the face of goal. Kilfeather has it, it's off the woodwork. Back into play it goes. Conor Walker's down there, but I think Downings are going to come away with it. There's a footman in there as well, but the Gaels could just not find the back of the net, and it was the woodwork that kept it out.
It was the woodwork, and a brilliant attempt from young Kilfeather that occasion. Conor McBurty did well, as I say. He's been marked by 2 men anytime the ball is let in, but he won the ball, ended up on the floor, and he was able to pop the ball up to Kieran Kilfeather, who rattled it off the crossbar. And then it was some brave defending on Downey's behalf. I think it was Tiernan McBride again that won the ball on the floor and won the free out.
Yeah, and for the first time this afternoon, that long ball into McBurty actually worked. He went to ground, gave it to Kilfeather, and it rattled off the post, so it did. So no change to the scoreboard. It remains 1-8 to 2 as we're about to hit the 20th minute of this tie. Heading for the closing 10 minutes of this Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure Donegal Junior A Championship final. Downings, of course, dropped out of intermediate, but they're heading back that direction again. Oisin Boyce looking to get in the score sheet, and the midfielder's knocked it over. He gets his first of the game, and just reward for his efforts today. He's had a good game, so is Brendan.
He's had a fantastic game. Like, they've ruled the airways around the middle of the park, so they have. And again on that occasion we saw it was Lorcan Connor who did really well. He shrugged off 2 or 3 Letterkenny Gaels defenders and was able to pop the ball to Oisin Boyce, who found himself inside the D and had the simple task of putting it over the bar. But it was getting there and been the support for Lorcan that was the important thing on that occasion, Oisin, because Lorcan did need to get the ball off to someone who was under pressure, and Oisin Boyce was there and duly took his score.
The Gaels with Conor Walker as they look to put a couple of scores on the board here, but it's been a very, very disappointing performance on the scoreboard by the Gaels with just 2 points on it in this junior final. And when you're doing that, you're not going to get any sort of rewards in relation to lifting trophies. Downings have won 9, and they just have 13 men inside their own 45 as they look just to keep the Letterkenny Gael men out. Here's McBurty, Oisin McBurty with a go, and his effort goes out to the right of the post, and it drops out for another wide. Change coming as well for Downings. Sean Crossan, it's going to be 19 for 15. So it's Conor Boyce is coming into the game, and he's going to take the place of Eric Roberts.
Yeah, and Eric can be happy with his contribution today. He played well on the inside line. He was always a threat for Downings in that area, so he was.
We wait on the kick to come now from John McGrody. McGrody sends it down the middle, and this time the break's picked up by the Gaels and Jeremy O'Cahill.
And he's had a great game for Gaels today. He's been the best player by a long shot, this guy. He's really trying to push the team forward, but it's a very lone furrow that he's borrowing, and not enough of his teammates have brought the same intensity and level of play that he's attempted to bring today.
Yeah, and from a Downings point of view, he was on the ball and there was 4 men in green shirts around him, and that's the level of intensity and work rate that they've brought to the game today, and that's been a huge difference between the two sides. So it has, Brendan.
Absolutely, Oisin, 100%, and they've been very well prepared. You can see their defensive structure, that they're very well set up, so they've been super today. So they've dominated every position on the field, as I say, and they've really gone about their business in a kind of very workman-like, every man putting a shoulder to the field. There's always a runner off the shoulder to take the ball under the man on pressure, and it's been a really, really good performance from Downings today.
And it comes back now to this near side underneath the stand with Kevin Gooch-Doherty. He's now been met by 3 Letterkenny Gaels players. The ball breaks and goes to hardy Danny McBride, who wins a free as well. He's had a big game too for Downings. He's played a vital role and was heavily involved in a lot of the scores that came the way in the first half.
And he's had a massive, what I'm really impressed by Danny, his work rate is exceptional. He's all over the field, so he is, and he's constantly putting pressure on the opposition players in possession, looking to get on the ball himself, and his use of the ball is exceptional too. Anytime he's on the ball, he makes the right decision with it. Yeah,
almost 24 minutes played off the second half of this game. We're into the closing minutes. It's Lorcan Connor looking for his second of the match. It's going to come across the face of the goals, and it's going to go out for another 45, and it's going to give the opportunity now for Downings to add to their total from a placed ball in the 45, and just slightly off to the right. And as they look for more scores here, they've got 1-9 on the board at the moment. I see that Kyle McFadden is going to enter the game as well for Downings.
Yeah, and I was watching Kevin Gooch already kicking 45s before the game, and he was pinging them over for simple. It was just a lovely strike of a ball, so he has.
Here comes the Gooch Doherty on the right. Launches it high. It's going to drop out wide to the right. Yeah, so it's another wide. It's wide number 9, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 with the second of the second half.
And we have got almost 25 minutes played, 24 and a half minutes. The kick out from the keeper, Ryan Graham, goes short, but they're living dangerously here. The Gaels, picked up by Jeremy O'Cahill, steaming up the park, flicks it out to the left where he gives it to Brian Diver. Diver now to Conor McBurty again. McBurty shrugging off the challenge. McBurty kicking from about 25 out, and again he's pulled it to the left and wide, and that would mean it remains in the scoreboard 1-9 to 2 points. Once again, Highlands coverage on Sunday Sport from this Junior A Football Championship decider is in association with Boyce's Centra in Carrigart Dunfanaghy and Fulcara, proud sponsors of local GAA. So shop local, support local. Cal McFadden is about to enter the game for the Downings men as we wait the kick out to come from John McGruddy. As we enter the closing minutes of the game, McFadden's going to have to wait as McGruddy takes the kick out, sends it down the middle, and the break is going to be picked up by Downings and Porrick McGinty. McGinty sends it out to the left. It's pumped forward looking for Larkin Connor in between two Letterkenny Gaels players. McGinty gets onto that right boot, but he's fouled on the edge of the 20, and it's going to be a free now to Downings. And
on that occasion, Larkin winning the ball inside, he knew that he had Niall Diver on a one-on-one Oisín, and he says, I'm going to drop the shoulder and go at him. Niall Diver was left with no option but to pull him down on that occasion. I suppose he's lucky that he didn't get a black card, but good ball into Larkin, and it should be a very scoreable free here to put them 110 to 2 points ahead. But the game, Oisín, has followed the course probably of the senior game, where there's been a dominant team. Unions were dominant. The intermediate final yesterday, Clough-Neely dominated, and again today we're seeing a pretty one-sided junior final. You have to turn up on the big day, and just Letterkenny Gaels didn't turn up today. They didn't play with the intensity, they didn't play with the smarts that you would expect from a team in a county final, and they've been basically cleaned all over the field, Oisín.
Okay, we wait the kick to come. I think Larkin Connor might have knocked that wide, did he? Yeah, we expected him to send it over the bar, but wide number 10 for Downings, so no change on the scoreboard. 27 minutes on the clock with 3 minutes to go, plus whatever additional time is going to be added on. And Paul McGruddy, another of the McGruddy contingent from the Doonhill, is about to enter the game as well. And it's getting difficult from our vantage point to work out the players, particularly over on the far side, as the light starts to fade even more here. There's going to be another change on the Gaels as well. And that is going to be... just looking down below us, wearing 19 is Sean Crossan's going to come in. Meantime, play continue. Here's another effort, but it goes out to the right-hand channel, where it's won by Downings. Pasoma again, the scorer of the goal. Pasoma coming across the 13. He was looking for Kyle McFadden, asked a bit much of McFadden. Comes back the way to Cormac Cannon, and the Gaels have it with Jeremy O'Cahill. O'Cahill knocks it out to the right, picks up the return. Danny McBride comes in with a late challenge, and O'Cahill's going to go to ground. And there is a player down further on up the field. I think quite possibly might be Pasoma, maybe a bit of cramp. Yeah, looks to be a bit of cramp. The change is going to be made as well on the line for Letterkenny Gaels. Sean Crossan's going to come in, and Kevin Kilkenny is going to come off. So it's going to be 19 for 4 for the Gaels. And now for Downings, wearing number 24 is Paul McGruddy. And Paul McGruddy is going to come in and replace Larkin Connor. Larkin Connor has scored in this game just a single point, Brendan, and normally from a man wearing number 14 you would expect a lot more on the scoreboard, but he contributed hugely today, particularly in the first half for Downings.
He had a fine game for Downings today. He really played well now, and again I will reiterate, he was well marshalled by Niall Diver. I felt Niall Diver did as good a job as you could on him, but Larky was involved in a lot of the good Downings play, the build-up play, and he worked really hard, and whilst he only got a point himself, he really contributed to the scoreline for Downings, so that he can be happy with his day's contribution.
So the ball goes down the left hand side. I see Alan Pasoma has gone off as well with that injury. He scored that goal, which was a massive score. Effort from the Gaels comes in and goes well out to the right and wide. There's going to be 2 minutes of time added on at the end of the game. We've got about 15 seconds or so left, so the celebrations will be on the way shortly for the Downings side, who of course go back up to intermediate football, which is the big prize at stake here. Downings of course lost last year in the final where they went down to Convoy, and lost out a couple of years ago to Convoy actually in Ballybuffet, but now they've stepped up and they've taken the win, and they're going to return to intermediate football.
There's that again, Oisín, just, again, winning that ball out in the middle of the field, giving them the platform to make, and just going back to the Larkin Connor sub, I suppose it's easy. You're insulting your own son when Cookie is taking him off, kind of thing, so that can be solved, so it can, as opposed to taking other players off on the way, so it is. With a lot of brilliant performances all over the pitch from Downings today, and really there was some excellent performance. Alan Pasoma, Lorkie, as we mentioned, Keelan McGrady and Johnny McGrady were superb, as were the two wing backs, Pádraig McGinty and Kevin Gooch. But to me, Danny McBride has been exceptional today. The amount of ground he's covered, the amount of tackles he's got in, the way he's linked play from defence to attack and creating good scoring chances for his teammates, and to me he's been man of the match, so he has, Oisín,
So confirmation that our panel,
and there's a score.
Yeah, there's a score. Confirmation of our panel up here in the press area. Francie Friel, Tom Comack and Brendan Kilcoyne have picked Danny McBride as the man of the match for Downings after a huge contribution today. And we've got a third point of the game, as Brendan said, for Letterkenny Gaels. Sean McDonough's now got 2. That score has come in the 31st minute, and that's the first score for Letterkenny Gaels since the 13th minute of the very first half.
50 minutes of football without going and getting a score. You're not going to compete in a county final with them sort of returns, Oisín.
So we're into the dying seconds of the game. The kick towards the middle of the park. It's won by the Gaels, and it's O'Cahill who flicks it out to the right hand side. Again, the Gaels just lumping this one into the area, looking for McBurty. The keeper comes, gets a fist to it, but it's going to go out for a 45. So the 2 minutes added on at the end of the game has exceeded. So I would say after this 45 is taken, it will be the final whistle coming from referee Mark Brown. Now, the man's going to take this 45 is Ryan Graham, and we know that he's a very, very capable kicker. He strikes the ball beautifully, and he has already scored a 45 for the Gaels today. I think that was their only 45 that they got in this match. It's going to be dropped in around the house, picked up again by Sean McDonough, and Sean McDonough's effort goes out to the left and wide, and keeping an eye on Mark Brown and to see if he's going to blow the full-time whistle once the ball comes back into play. That should be it. The Downings players, the management and the supporters down below us will be celebrating a junior championship title and a return to the next tier of football in Donegal as they head to the intermediate championship in 2022. The kick out into the middle of the park. There goes the full-time whistle, and Downings are Donegal Junior A champions for 2021 after a dominant performance against Letterkenny Gaels, winning through on a final scoreline of 1-9 to 3 points. Well, after 13 minutes, it was 2 points apiece. Johnny McGrady got the opening 2 scores from Downings. Sean McDonough and Ryan Graham with a 45 levelled the tie up. But between the 21st minute of the game and the 21st minute of the second half, Downings rattled off a goal and 7 points. The goal coming from Alan Pasoma. Keelan McGrady during that period stepped up with 2 points. Oisín Boyce got 1. Larkin Connor got 1. And Alan Pasoma also got a point as well on top of his goal, as did Danny McBride, who got a point. He, of course, put in a storming performance today to be named as man of the match in this junior final. Sean McDonough did get the 3rd point of the game in the closing seconds of the tie for the Gaels, but the scoreline very much a true reflection on how this game panned out. 1-9 to 3 was how it finished, Brendan Kilcoyne, and there was no doubt who the winners were going to be today.
Yeah, Letterkenny Gaels can have no arguments. As I said, they didn't. And on county final day, you have to turn up, and they just didn't get the performance that required at this level to win a county final. As I mentioned before, Niall Diver played well. The number 5, Diarmid O'Cahill, I thought had a good game. Sean McDonough was probably the pick of the forwards, but out of that, they didn't get enough top class performances, whereas you can go all through the Downings team and they really got some great performances all over the field, and I've referred to them already. But Downings be really happy because they came and delivered on the day. defensive setup was very good. Their work rate all over the field was excellent, and they just had too much power and too much class for this Letterkenny Gaels team today. Again, Danny McBride led it out with his work rate and his energy and his willingness to chase everything today. He was superb, but the performances were all over the field, good performance all over the field. The two McGroddies, Johnny and Keelan, were superb, as was Tierna McBride at full back. The two wing half backs, and Ben McNutt, Kevin Gooch Doherty, Porrick McGinty, and then the two boys in the middle of the field gave them the platform throughout the whole of the game, Oisín, to basically take control of the game and get enough ball into their forward line where they had the quality. Alan Pisoma, although playing deep a lot, particularly in the first half as a sweeper, was still able to get on the end of moves. Lorcan Connor was a constant threat, and then you had Eric Roberts, number 15, who had a fine game too. He was taken off with about 10 minutes to go. So listen, Downings, happy day for them. I suppose the big question for them is they've won a couple of junior championships in the last 10 years and they've gone down fairly quick. They need to consolidate themselves now at intermediate level, but they'll take a lot of heart from this. And fair play to Cookie and Barney Kern. They did a brilliant job preparing this team, and they were spot on for today's final, Oisín.
So Downings were relegated to junior in 2019 and missed out in promotion back to intermediate in last year's final when they lost to St Mary's of Convoy. But they've made up for that disappointment today. We're about to watch man of the match, Danny McBride, receive his man of the match reward. He was superb today. Downings were superb as well. They are Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure Donegal Junior A champions for 2021, beating the Letterkenny Gaels on a final scoreline of 1-9 to 3 points. We'll have some reaction from the Downings victory for you shortly on Highland Radio Sunday Sport as we return to the studio in the Mountain Top. If you are watching the Donegal streaming service, we'll hear now from Donegal GA Chairman Mick McGrath.
I'm delighted to be here today at the junior final to present the trophy here today for the junior A final. In what was a very exciting week leading up to this for Letterkenny Gaels, having two teams in the double final today. Your B team got off to a great start in lifting their trophy. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be an exciting day for yourselves. You didn't bring your A game to the game today. You'll feel disappointed, but getting the finals is still a very, very good achievement. You must continue the good work, and I ask all the players to continue assisting the coaches at underage in your club, because that's where this club is going to benefit from coming through in future years. To all the adult players from the A and the B team at Letterkenny Gaels, I would congratulate you for getting this far today, and a round of applause for both teams. I thank the staff again for Ronald Park for having us in absolute excellent condition here today, and to all the stewards that worked here today the long afternoon. I thank them as well. A special word of thanks to Mark Brown, his linesman and his umpires on what was let the game flow, and there was nothing too controversial in the match, and he had a good game. Well done, Mark. But today is about Nadunu. You return. You return to another county final, and you will be bringing the cup down to the Rossgill area tonight, and I'm sure that even tomorrow. But it will be a good night, and it will be a good day tomorrow. Congratulations to everybody in the Junior Cup. Again, I ask those players to encourage every young lad that's grown up in your club area to continue playing Gaelic games and bring forward again, hopefully, more young lads that can continue to play for the Gaelic and hopefully show them where the county jersey is. the future. So I encourage you all to pass on the tradition of Gaelic games. So finally, I will conclude by asking Captain Madinov and McNutt to lift the cup and have a good evening. Congratulations to Madinov.
A few words down here, examiner, normally does this, but he's down there today. Firstly, thanks to the units for the pitch. It's an excellent position this time of the year and the facilities. The officials, it's a proud day for them and their families to be repping county finals, so well done to them. Letterkenny Gaels, the great season so far. It was a tough game there today, but we look forward to the Division 2 next year, so well done to them. The managers, firstly to Ryan, Bobby, Eddie, Shane and John for all their effort over the last 4 seasons. Without them, we would be here today. Secondly, Anthony, Cliffy and Barry for the effort over the last month to win. I don't know if they knew what they were getting themselves in for, but they sort of last so far. Our supporters, they're all here today. Without them, we would have kept over the line. They've been excellent over the last couple of seasons. It's been tough, but thanks to the stuck by us and thanks for their support. And just lastly, the players, I know we have to take the head off each other half the time, but thank you for coming together today and thanks for all your effort and commitment since the start of the season. And here's the Ulster.
Mr. Manager, Vincent McGlynn has put on the lights out the back so that the victorious Downings team could please get their way through the tunnel area there, out the back, and their fans can all be celebrated.
What about Danny McBride? Danny, man on the match, congratulations.
Thanks, Kieran. It's good to get her anyway.
Listen, last year's defeat against St Mary's up in Balbuffet, a different game and a different day, completely different this time, and it was important to come back with a performance like you did today.
Aye, it was, Kieran. There were a lot of boys hurt there last year after, we got a bad hammering by Convoy, but no, we're prepared better this year now. With, every man knew what it was like last year, losing in a losing dressing room. They didn't want the same to happen this year.
5 years, it's a long time for Downings. It has a huge tradition in football, Danny, so it was important. How important is it now to be back in intermediate football next year?
It's very important here, and because a lot of good young fellas coming through there. That's where you want to be. There's no, you don't want to be down in junior all the time. You're better up in intermediate and Division 2, playing better teams every week. That's where you want to be. So.
Just in relation to the game, got off to a good start, 2 points from the first 3 minutes. We're done 6-2 up at the break. The goal was the big score, wasn't it?
It was surely here now. The goal, we had a chance for a goal at the start and halfway through the first half too, and we didn't get it. But no, thankfully we kicked on the second half. Then we missed a couple of scores in the first half too. At the end of the first half, just bad decision making. We should have laid it on instead of taking the shot. But thankfully, we got a couple of scores to settle us in the second half, and then the goal. And so kind of summed it up.
Robin, Danny, thanks for joining us. Well done.
Good man.
I'm joined by Ben McNutt. Ben, the captain of Downings. Congratulations.
Oh, great day. Hey, just happy to get over the line. We knew it'd be a tough game coming in, but thankfully got off to a good start and got there in the end.
I was reading your notes beforehand in the match programme. Very disappointing. You said in your own words that you didn't show up in the last couple of years.
That's it. We came here, or it was in Balbuffet last year, and we got beaten well by Convoy. We didn't perform on the day, so thankfully we got to right the wrongs this year again, made it back and went one step further.
What was the difference this year in comparison to last year?
Jeez, I don't know. If I could tell that, we would have been at it all season, but the work the boys put in since the start of the season, been second to none. They wanted to get back to the county final and win it. So thankfully, proud of them there today. Each and every one of them stepped up and got over the line.
I was just noting 5 of the 6 starting forwards got on the score sheet today, which was important.
Important, surely, especially when the forwards we have, last year none of us played over a 2 out of 10, so that just goes to show you there today. If 5 of them were on the scoreboard, you'll be on your way to winning.
And finally, Ben, how big a deal is it to be back at intermediate football next year?
It's a massive deal for us. We were disappointed when we got relegated, but thankfully we're back up there now. We're in Division 2, so hopefully we can consolidate ourselves up there as an intermediate and Division 2 club and push on from there.
Ben, thanks for joining us. Congratulations again.
Good man. Thank you.